TomoNews presents Air Pollution.
Canadian company sells cans of fresh air to smog-choking China. It looks like a stylish product for hair, but it's not. It's Vitality Air, fresh air for stuffy noses living in polluted environments. This is how low humanity has sunk. Even air has become a commodity. A commodity that can be sold at a high price, especially to nations like China, where residents are choking in smog and air pollution. One can of clean air and oxygen from the beautiful Rocky Mountains in Canada can cost from about $14 to $20 only. With prices like that, who will be able to afford to breathe? The first batch of 500 canisters sold out within 2 weeks, mainly bought by affluent Chinese women who buy them for their families or as a Christmas present. The Canadian company is not even the first to have this idea. The Chinese themselves were the first ones to link clean air with sky-high profits. Beijing artist Liang Qigang sold clean air from southern France to his desperate countrymen after a trip there last year. In 2013, multimillionaire Chen Guangbiao sold air from less industrialized and polluted regions in China to more polluted places for 5 yuan. That's less than 80 cents. At least that was cheaper.
Pigeon-mounted sensors give London air quality readings. A team of pigeons has begun taking to the skies with state-of-the-art technology designed to measure air pollution in Britain's capital. The Pigeon Air Patrol birds are each strapped with tiny backpacks housing sensors to measure levels of nitrogen dioxide, ozone, and other volatile compounds in the air. The squadron is made up of 10 pigeons. The program will offer people on the ground the most up-to-date information on the air they're breathing. Users may tweet at Pigeon Air. The system then responds with current readings on a scale ranging from moderate to extreme. This is the latest campaign to combat air pollution by technology company Plume Labs. The French company is also planning to mobilize 100 Londoners to carry backpacks with sensors for on-the-ground pollution monitoring. An estimated 9,500 people die in London every year as a result of long-term exposure to air pollution. Around the world, the number of premature deaths caused by air pollution is nearly 7 million people annually. Plume Labs has exceeded its crowdfunding goal of raising £10,000 to be able to fund plans for the live air map of London, with information generated by sensors on human patrollers. The birds are being employed for a 3-day test study only, after which they'll retire back to the care of their owner.
The craziest air pollution protection masks people wear in China. Air quality and pollution levels have gotten so bad in Beijing that the government has issued a red alert for the first time, warning people to stay inside with their air purifiers or face one of the smoggiest polluted atmospheric conditions on Earth. Those that choose to brave the choking toxic smog should probably heed our list of the most fashion-forward and craziest air pollution masks. First up is the Airwaves mask created by Frog Shanghai. It connects to a smartphone app to measure pollution levels and keep wearers in the know about air quality in different neighborhoods. If you want other people to see your smile but still breathe cleaner air, there's also the nasal air purifier made by Mai Xingren. But only nose breathing is covered, and any mouth breaths are still going to be pretty polluted. Another nasal option is the InfaPure Invisible Air Filtration Mask. But if you don't like sticking stuff up your nose and you still want your face to be visible, there's the Sunny Smile Transparent Mask. This Toto Bobo mask is somewhere between the transparent masks and the full face coverage filters. If you like the vintage look, you can always go to the Army Surplus store and snag one of these retro World War II style masks. For a more modern style, there are all kinds of apocalypse chic choices, as showcased at the 2014 China Fashion Week by designer Yin Peng. Joggers and runners need to be especially careful when taking deep breaths of pollution while getting some exercise. Cyclists are also vulnerable to the air quality problems in China, so British artist Matt Hope designed this breathing bicycle that uses the power generated by pedaling to filter the air for the person riding it to breathe. Another innovation in air purification by artist Chu Chi uses a natural solution by attaching a breathing apparatus to a box with a plant inside that produces pure oxygen. These artist mock-ups show clothing that has the face mask built in. Are these the future of breathing? Imagine what these kids will be wearing on their faces by the time they're old enough to choose for themselves. These people certainly have some interesting taste, and it looks like there's a lot more where that came from.
Pollution from China ruins US effort to cut ozone levels on West Coast. A study published in Nature Geoscience claims the US's effort to cut ozone levels have gone to waste due to pollution arriving on the west coast from China. From 2005 to 2010, the US managed to cut ozone-producing nitrous oxide emissions by 20% by imposing strict standards for motor vehicles and industry. During the same period of time, however, China's growth pushed its own ozone levels up by about 7%. Half of the increase in China came from the ground up, while the other half descended from the stratosphere, although some of that pollution may have been blown to China from India and other parts of Asia, in the same way that the dominant westerly winds blow China's air pollution into the troposphere straight across the Pacific Ocean and into the United States, causing ozone levels to rise again. High levels of pollution can cause respiratory problems, damage to crops, and of course global warming. According to researcher Willem Verstraeten, local and national efforts to fight pollution could have a limited impact if the problem is not also dealt with at an international level.
New Delhi aims to blast pollution out of the air. A group of scientists led by an MIT professor hopes that an innovative idea can help clear the thick smog that plagues India's capital city. Scientists will use old jet engines in an attempt to blast air pollution out of New Delhi's atmosphere. The jet engines will be taken to a coal-fired power station and turned on facing skyward. The engines generate a nozzle speed equal to the speed of sound, which researchers believe will push smog out of the atmosphere. During the winter, Delhi experiences a temperature inversion, which traps pollution near the ground. But the scientists say the jet engines have enough power to blast emissions through this lid of warm air. Around 60% of India's energy is provided by coal-fired power plants, which contributes to terrible air pollution in the country's cities. This pollution is linked to millions of asthma cases, respiratory diseases, and thousands of deaths each year. The level of harmful fine particulate matter in Delhi's air last winter reached 15 times the Indian government's safe level, and more than 90 times the level considered safe by the World Health Organization. The researchers say one jet engine can handle emissions from an 1,000-megawatt capacity power plant. The scientists also say the fuel emissions from the jet engines will be negligible compared to the amount of pollution they can clear, and are working to reduce noise pollution during the experiment.
Ventilation corridors may be China's solution to heavy smog. China's capital city is planning to construct ventilation corridors in a bid to tackle the country's air pollution. Densely populated cities tend to generate more energy and waste heat, resulting in a warmer environment than surrounding rural areas. Measures to curb pollution in Beijing have led to air quality improving only marginally. In 2015, the city had 186 days of up-to-par air quality, up 14 from 2014. To reduce smog, the capital is planning to build ventilation corridors. These are designed to relieve a city's heat and pollution by improving urban wind flow. The corridors will be created by connecting parks, rivers, lakes, highways, and small building blocks. 5 primary corridors, over 500 meters wide, will run from the northern suburbs to the south. Secondary corridors measuring more than 80 meters are also planned. The corridors will reportedly allow northern winds to blow through Beijing during severe winter smog spells. Experts also suggest curbing the amount and height of city center buildings, as well as adding more green spaces. Beijing saw its worst smog spell from November to December of 2015. The air pollution was so thick it blocked views and prompted authorities to issue a red alert warning.
Say goodbye to polluted air. People in smog-filled cities may soon breathe easier thanks to a new concoction that turns regular mesh screens into pollution-blocking nanofiber filters. A research team from the National University of Singapore engineered a liquid nanofiber solution that turns non-woven mesh into air filters. The filters are able to block out up to 90% of hazardous particulate matter smaller than 2.5 microns. Unlike conventional filters that block out air along with pollutants, the nanofibers allow 2.5 times more clean air to flow through. Their ability to block out harmful UV rays while providing natural lighting makes the filters ideal for windows and doors. The novel new filters can also be applied to respirators. The Singapore team has filed a patent for their invention. They're currently working to improve filtration efficiency and maybe add antibacterial properties.
Dirty old birds show changes in U.S. air pollution. Researchers analyzed the amount of soot on birds in museums from Rust Belt cities to track air pollution in the U.S. over the last 135 years. A new paper shows the discoloration of birds in museum collections can be used to estimate the amount of black carbon air over time. Researchers sampled over 1,000 birds collected over the last 135 years to find out and quantify the effects of soot in the air in Rust Belt cities like Chicago, Detroit, and Pittsburgh. To track changes in sootiness, the scientists photographed the birds and measured the light reflected off of them. They found that older birds were dirtier and new birds were cleaner. The team discovered that soot on birds closely tracks the use of coal over time. Researchers also pointed out that even though newer birds are cleaner, it doesn't necessarily mean U.S. air is less polluted. Many of the pollutants released into the atmosphere today aren't as easily tracked as soot.
Paris instates traffic ban to control smog level. The air pollution level in Paris has prompted the French government to impose major traffic restrictions effective on Monday. The severe smog now enveloping France and Belgium is largely caused by motor vehicle exhaust and factory smoke. Air pollution is dispersed when the warm air at the Earth's surface rises to the higher atmosphere. Warm days and cool nights in the spring cause temperature inversion, where the surface air that has cooled overnight becomes trapped. This causes a smog buildup that can only be dispersed by winds. The Paris traffic restriction, effective from 5:30 a.m. to midnight on Monday, permits vehicles with odd number license plate numbers to drive. Even-numbered plates will be allowed to drive on Tuesday if the restriction continues. Paris's air quality in recent days has been among the worst on record, with particulate levels reaching more than double the safety limit.
Car parks could become the lungs of a city. Dutch company ENS Technology has installed air purification systems in car parks in the city of Gurk, which have proven to be able to substantially improve air quality. ENS's technology's air purification system is called the Awww, which can remove fine and ultrafine dust particles from the air. Polluted air is absorbed into the system by a fan. The air is then ionized, forcing the fine and ultrafine dust particles to settle onto a collector's surface and transform into coarse dust. The system has proven to be able to reduce fine dust concentration by more than 70% inside car parks and by about 50% in the surrounding area. The director of ENS Technology says the company plans to implement the air purification system in a variety of infrastructures, such as tunnels, trains, and bus stations. Researchers find terrifying link between Alzheimer's disease and the very air you breathe. New research suggests there may be a connection between cognitive decline and heavily polluted air. According to U.S. researchers, elderly women who breathe polluted air, such as from car exhausts, have a higher risk of developing dementia and suffering cognitive decline. The research also suggests that women who carry the gene ApoE4 have a much higher chance of developing Alzheimer's disease if exposed to similar air pollution. These dangerous particles are found in pollution from car exhaust fumes, power plants, and even burning wood. The research was led by the University of Southern California and published in the journal Translational Psychiatry.
The city of Harbin in northeastern China has closed schools and grounded flights as air pollution has reached hazardous levels. The burning of coal during the winter, combined with pollution from car exhausts, can result in high concentrations of solid and liquid particles, creating what's referred to as particulate matter. The particles are identified by their aerodynamic diameters and are linked directly to health problems. Fine particulate matter, smaller than 2.5 micrometers, are more than 30 times smaller than a human hair. When inhaled, fine particulate matter can cause extreme harm as it reaches deep into the lungs. 100 points on the air pollution index is considered unhealthy. 300 and above is considered dangerous. Visibility in the city was reduced to around 50 meters in some parts of the city. The smog has been linked to the starting up of the city's coal-burning public heating system.